Thank you, Kelly. Well, a judge says that he will rule later this week on whether the temporary order he issued last Friday will stand and let middle and high school students in Williamsville and Orchard Park get back to school buildings full time next week.
2 News Side's Dave McKinley listened in on some of the arguments raised today before the judge makes that decision.
Lawyers for the state argued against relaxing rules regarding the schools, citing CDC guidance that in communities where there are more than 100 positive cases per 100,000 people over a 7-day average, that's considered a high rate of transmission. This is even though Erie County's number now stands at just 113 and has been falling. One argument lawyers for parents raised is that taking the county as a whole doesn't reflect what may or may not be happening in terms of transmission within certain parts of it.
We should have that be based off of the local zip codes rate, which Erie County does publish.
While a state epidemiologist testified it would be impractical to narrow guidelines by zip codes or towns because it could result in some students allowed to attend, but others who live across the street not being able to. Lawyers for the plaintiffs reminded the court how the state came up with its orange zones last year.
That's exactly the situation that was imposed on restaurants. You had restaurants that were open on one side of the street and then closed on the other side of the street because it was done by town borders. So I don't understand why the state thought that it was appropriate to calculate the orange zone based on zip codes and towns, and in New York City even block by block. But for getting students back to school, it has to be the whole county or nothing. That just doesn't make sense.
Now, you might recall that late last week, the judge had ordered district officials in Orchard Park and Williamsville to prepare to resume in-person learning 5 days a week, starting next Monday, even though the hearing hadn't been concluded. He did this so that they would be prepared to offer that learning should he ultimately rule in the parents' favor. Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.